Hey everybody, it is Kellen Nitro for Nitromaniac TV's Wrestling Unlimited coming at you again with another Nitro's Take, and it's been a big week for Billy Corgan's National Wrestling Alliance. Yes, they relaunched on Sunday with their pay-per-view titled Back for the Attack on Sunday, March 21st, 2021. You'll hear my take on this event in this video as well. We're going to double it up for you here as well. They also premiered Season 4 on March 23rd, 2021. Of NWA Power. So you'll get my thoughts on both programs here. You may see a little wardrobe change in the middle of this. I'm shooting my Back for the Attack thoughts and review and so forth prior to watching the first episode of NWA Power. So let's get after it. It's been a few days. I still have notes, still fresh in my mind. Welcome to Nitro's Take, and welcome to Nitro's Take for NWA Back for the Attack. And yes, they keep on rockin' the dockin'. The return of the NWA with Billy Corgan and David Marquez as creative gurus. Let's break it down. A very phenomenal opening video for Back for the Attack, with a great tribute to Joseph Hudson, who passed away suddenly a few weeks ago, just prior to the announcement of all this happening. Joe Galli and Tim Storm are your commentators for this pay-per-view, and they welcome us to ringside and run down the card. Pretty cool to see Tim Storm kind of in the wrestler analyst role at this point. Guy sounds good on a mic, and he's just going to get better and better with the on-camera experience. So there is a lack of Dave Marquez on the mic, as we have Kyle Davis instead. He is joined by Nick Aldis on the NWA Power set. If you don't know who Kyle Davis is, he was the guy who was doing all of the kind of interstitial stuff for NWA Power the past couple of seasons or so, and he's very recognizable. The little bald guy. Well, I don't know if he's little or anything, but there we go. The bald guy. But anyway, Kyle Davis is joined by Nick Aldis on the NWA Power set. Very heartfelt promo to promote the main event. Of course, Aaron Stevens challenging for the NWA title versus Nick Aldis tonight. We had a fatal four-way open up this pay-per-view. Slice Boogie, Jordan Clearwater, Jack Stane, and Crimson all going into this fatal four-way contest. And so we have two of the Championship Wrestling in Hollywood guys with Boogie and Clearwater versus two of the NWA stalwarts, Jack Stane and Crimson. And this match itself goes 5:41. And the finish of this thing, a pretty incredible sequence towards the end. Clearwater hits his Midas touch on Jack Stane, but that also transitions right into the dead-ass driver by Slice Boogie onto Clearwater, while Clearwater was laying prone after his finish. And Boogie nets the 1-2 free, gets the W. Like I said, it's about 5 minutes and 41 seconds. Check it out. It's a solid opener. I really enjoyed it. I also have written down here, statement victory by Boogie, who looks to be on the NWA roster. And yes, it appears so. So you're going to see a lot of movement between the Championship Wrestling from wherever guys and the NWA guys between the two shows now, with Marquez and Billy Corgan kind of heading up their creative and bringing guys in from the West Coast versus, you know, your Georgia and East Coast indie crowd that are going to show up on this NWA Power brand rolling out for Season 4 and beyond. Should also mention at this point that there is no live studio audience to speak of. They have a bunch of people making noise and that stuff, but they're off camera, and the camera is kind of situated in the NWA arena at GPP's studios in Atlanta on the fan side. So if you remember Into the Fire and past NWA Power seasons, how the camera was on one end of the studio and the interview set was off to your left. It's not. It's off to your right, and you're facing the interview set because the camera is where the people would be due to coronavirus and all sorts of fun things. So, May Valentine backstage with Sal Renaro. Sal is hyped for the card tonight, and then right back to Joe and Tim, and they hyped the NWA Power season premiere this Tuesday, and we get right into the Clash of the Giants. Kratos versus Tyrus. Kratos and Aaron Stevens are the new NWA Tag Champs. They defeated James Storm and Eli Drake before Eli jumped to NXT, and this was during the United Wrestling Network Primetime Live weekly pay-per-view shows that were run during the fall before coronavirus basically had them shut down that run on the West Coast. So a few months back, but yeah, it's kind of current NWA-ish history. And the former Brodus Clay was a very controversial pickup by the NWA due to his posts on social media. You can Google it yourself and that stuff. Not drawing any opinions one way or the other here, but just reporting as I see it. This match ran 7 minutes and 27 seconds. Big elbow drop, which Tyrus is titling the Great American Smash, nets Tyrus the 1-2-3. And yeah, it I think went about the length that you want for two big lumbering heavyweights. Towards the end of it, it kind of felt like it was kind of dragging on and on a little bit. But, hey, Tyrus is a guy that has some, I guess, I don't want to say name value, but some recognition at least from, the WWE and the Impact run and so on and so forth. So, and again, with the social media and the appearances on, he does appear on Fox, I think Fox News sometimes, and a few other Fox affiliated programs that might bring in some of the, I don't know. He might bring in a little bit of the right-wing crossover appeal, if that's such a thing. I don't know. Like I said, just calling it as I see it here. May Valentine interviews Trevor Murdoch, says Chris Adonis is trying to make his mark, and Murdoch is not an easy target. So that's for the NWA National Championship coming up a little bit later on. But first, the NWA TV Championship is on the line. Tom Latimer takes on the Pope. Big change prior to this pay-per-view with the NWA TV title time limits now going 10 minutes and 5 seconds instead of 6:05. I wasn't a fan to begin with this, but after watching this match, I kind of warmed up to it, whereas, it kind of allows them to have a little bit of a feeling out process in these matches with people. And then by the time that it hits 6 minutes and 5 seconds left on the clock, these guys are going 100 miles per hour in there. And, working whatever style or getting right to telling the story of the match and so on and so forth. So this thing goes 10 minutes and 5 seconds, and Pope does retain the title via a draw. So, didn't defeat Tom Latimer. Latimer didn't beat Pope. It just was basically a draw. So, again, I think this one was just a real good showcase for what the new rules are for the NWA going forward with the television title. And like I said, we'll have to wait and see how the 10-minute and 5-second time limit continues to roll on. But I kind of liked it. As like I said, I warmed up to it. So May Valentine speaks to Aaron Stevens. It's another incredibly emotional segment. Go back and watch both promos. Yes, the opening show promo with Nick Aldis and this promo here with Aaron Stevens is really, really good. Two of the best promos I've seen, in wrestling all year so far. Great stuff. And then we had a banger, and this was my choice for match of the night here. No offense to the main event guys, but these two girls brought it. Camille versus Thunder Rosa. We had a big reveal at the commentary desk as Taryn Terrell is in the NWA and is on commentary. This is her first kind of quote-unquote major promotional appearance, or a major promotion appearance, I should say, since I think her Impact run several years ago. I want to say 2015, 2016, just off the top of my head. So she's been out of it for a few years, but, to bring her back in, I think she left the business to start or continue a family and, had some outside ventures and that stuff. But here's a woman that in the early part of the 2010s had those real knockout, drag-out affairs with Gail Kim over in Impact. And this is after, being basically written off as, just an on-camera presence as the former WWE ECW general manager, Tiffany. So, like I was saying, her career is that of a redemption right from her release from WWE on. So it's really cool to see her back in a company where a lot of people have really redeemed their careers and redeemed their runs, i.e. like Colt Cabana, Eddie Kingston, so on and so forth. Rosa, of course, coming off of last week, that match of the year candidate with Dr. Britt Baker. Yes, the lights out, no disqualification affair. That thing was wild. Of course, if you haven't seen that, what is wrong with you? I'm sure you have seen it already, but it was a great contest. So anyway, this one goes 14 minutes and 4 seconds, and Camille does defeat Thunder Rosa. The finish of this match is A double stomp attempt by Thunder Rosa is thwarted into a spear attempt, but that is successful by Camille, and Camille again hits another spear for the 1-2-3, and Camille is the #1 contender, which is really cool. So does that mean that Thunder Rosa's participation here is limited due to her AEW contractual demands or whatever agreement they got working there? We have to wait and see. Like I said, haven't watched the first episode of Power yet in the show, so stay tuned. My thoughts on that coming up. Mae Valentine is backstage with Austin Idol. Yes, that's right. The Universal Heartthrob is in the house, and the Legend is here as a special guest, invited by Aaron Stevens of all people. Now we know that the World Heavyweight Champion Nick Aldis and Austin Idol are boys. They've hung out together before in the past. Idol actually helped Aldis retain the NWA title a few years ago in a matchup against Tim Storm. So they started planting the seed there. That was really cool. I like that. The NWA National Championship was the next match that we seen. It was Chris Adonis versus Trevor Murdoch, the champion. The former Masterpiece looking jacked as always. Moving along in this show as well, we're only an hour 12 in and we're on our second last match. So this is when I could tell that, hey, this is a 2-hour pay-per-view and not so much a 3-hour pay-per-view, which is real nice. The same day as a WWE show, let me tell you. It was awesome. Yes, this could have been Raw in 2007, but both these guys can still work and are amazing in the ring. That's true. And you can tell that they've had chemistry before from working against each other in the past. So this is not a new matchup by any stretch of the imagination, but kind of more of a reimagining of one. So the finish of this thing, a master lock attempt by Adonis, but Murdoch drops down, and Murdoch locks in a roll-up to retain 1-2-3, a very phenomenal battle. The runtime for this is 8 minutes and 38 seconds. Post-match, the two shake hands, but Adonis is still a heel, so watch out. He locks in a master lock, and he nails a master lock slam, and then he locks in the master lock again. And, you know, he gets pulled off of Murdoch, who is laid out in the ring, which means that his quest for the NWA National Championship is still ongoing, and maybe establishing himself as a heel to stay here on NWA and NWA Power. So Austin Idol joins commentary, built up the main event very well, giving it that big fight feel. He says that Stevens reached out to Idol. Idol says that Aldis has a big, deep, dark secret that will lead to his downfall. I wonder what that means. I wonder what that dark secret is, because that planted something. That's going to be maybe something like a theme throughout NWA Power this year, and so on and so forth. What is the deep, dark secret that Aldis has that has allowed him to get to this point? So just before the main event, we had a very solemn and very touching 10-bell salute to the fallen. You'll have to excuse me because they had mentioned 3 names. I didn't get the first name, but the second name, of course, was Jim Crockett Jr., a legendary NWA promoter from the 80s. Of course, the NWA in the 80s was huge. Crockett Cups, you name it. Just Google him. That's about it. Just a massive, massive figure in the sport and will be missed. And of course, Joseph Hudson as well, Josephus, who last wrestled with the NWA just prior to the pandemic in 2020 as the question mark, and one of the great comedic characters of 2019. Unfortunately, is no more, and it's a sad deal because that character, I thought for sure Stevens and question mark would have been somebody or a team that would have shown up on AEW during the pandemic, for example. So the NWA World Heavyweight title was up next. Aaron Stevens, the challenger, taking on Nick Aldis, the champion. Stevens clad in black and yellow, tribute to the question mark and Joseph Hudson. And 883 days, not 882 days at this point, but 883 days as NWA World Champion for Nick Aldis. Maybe a run to 1,000 days. So Billy and the NWA could say, hey, we have a 1,000-day champion in Nick Aldis. He has not lost it since winning it back from Cody at the NWA 70th anniversary show back in 2018. Yes, 2018. We're talking pre-COVID, way back to the waning part of last decade. This was a awesome contest, and the only reason why it doesn't get my vote for match of the night is just because I think that the girls worked a little bit harder in their match, and it felt like it was a better contest to me than this main event. This main event here kind of felt like it felt like an old school Raw or SmackDown main event from the mid 2000s or so, with the same kind of pacing and that stuff. And I think the lack of the crowd kind of really hurt it. Whereas the women's match just felt like a fight from the beginning, and it just was awesome. I really enjoyed that. This was really good though too. And for the finish at the 21:29 mark, the two combatants get wrapped up into a small package ball, and all this gets the 1-2 free. Kind of one of those. Very similar to the way Big E and Apollo Crews later that day at Fastlane ended, but without all the hokiness to it. This actually felt like a legit two people trying to scramble for position, and the champ just 1 second faster than Stevens in getting the shoulder up off the mat so he could retain the title. So, and the ref catching it. So post match, Aaron has the question mark match. It was in the corner all match, in a spot of prominence. The two shake hands. The NWA roster hits the ring with the Mongrovian flag in tow. And the pay-per-view goes to black with Steven saying to the heavens above, "That one's for you, Sensei. We love you." And it goes right to black. So my thoughts on the pay-per-view, I thought that this was a great introductory pay-per-view back, kind of giving people a nice little taste of what the NWA could do under this new regime and new creative outlet, and also a great tribute to Joseph Hudson as well. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 and a must watch. I think that anybody who has 2 hours in a day can go and check this out and see it. It is on Fight TV, archived, and you can check it out, and it comes free, I think, with your NWA package, in which I have subscribed. So I think it's a monthly cost of $4.99 in the United States on Fight. And so I've paid that. And now I am going to sit down and watch NWA Power, the debut episode for Season 4. And I will be back with you later on, maybe in a different wardrobe, maybe in a different time. And we will chop it up. But it's going to show up in this video, so to you guys it'll be like seconds have passed, but to me it's been X amount of time. Okay, fade to black now. Alright, I'm back. I got a new shirt on, so it's time for NWA Power Season 40 Episode 1 Pilot, which aired on Fight TV on March 23rd, 2021. And again, they moved from YouTube to a monthly paid subscription on Fight. The opener is back with Dawkins and Into the Fire, which is such an iconic theme for them. It's developed its own kind of cult following. The play-by-play crew for Power this year will be Joe Galley, Tim Storm, and Velvet Sky. So another great addition to the panel as well. So Kyle Davis opens up the show with Strictly Business. They are down Royce Isaacs, who is currently over in AEW, but Latimer and Camille keep hijacking the interview, and then all this with the main event hype. Six-man tag team main event, what they call a champions main event. So all of the champions are all going to be in this match in the main event. Our opening contest is Camille versus Alex Gracia. Gracia, of course, one of Thunder Rosa's prospects from Mission Pro Wrestling, and representing AEW Dark through that Forbidden Door agreement of Tony Khan and basically, the handshake deal with the NWA. Camille, though, just overpowering Gracia here. Camille jaw jacks with Joe Galley and hits a spear and then a second spear on Gracia for the pinfall victory. And we go right into commercial right after that. Kyle Davis has another interview with the Pope. There is a #1 freeway contenders match coming up next, and Pope says he survived against Latimer at Back for the Attack. Good babyface promo, says he's on the way to the 7 rule. So now, to refresh everybody's mind, if the television champion has 7 successful defenses in a row, he can cash in the TV title for a shot at the world's heavyweight title. Kind of cool for a title that would be normally classified as quote-unquote mid-card, for that champion to kind of be able to build himself up to get a shot at that title. So The freeway match, Matt Cross, Fred Rosser, and Marshall Roquette. A good freeway field, but meanwhile, Austin Idol walks out with Tyrus. Idol says he signed Tyrus to Idolmania Sports Management, and that means that Idol is Tyrus's new manager. Idol says he will make Tyrus the NWA World Champ. To a chorus of boos from, again, not the live crowd, but the stand-ins around the ring and in the building and whatever, the crew. Then it's followed by an ad for Austin Idol's Universal Wrestling College. Pope swaps in for Velvet on commentary, and we get the freeway underway after the commercial break. Pope says Darren Young then froze his hands up. Tim Storm saves him a bit, though. Not the first and only time somebody would be called by their former gimmick name in this program. Probably the most egregious instance of such, and I know that Pope, you can see on camera, just kind of like froze himself up, like, damn it, he knows he screwed up, but it'll make Botchamania. It was pretty funny. Fast-paced affair. The Mongrovian flag is up in the rafters now, a real great touch, and Rosser hits the gut check on Cross after a shooting star by Cross doesn't net anything for the 1-2 free. So Fred Rosser will get a shot at the Pope and the television title coming up, in the upcoming weeks here on NWA Power, sounds like. After a May Valentine interview with Sliced Boogie, we have the debut of Mike Perro on NWA Power versus Jordan Clearwater. Poor Jordan. I like the kid, but man, is he in a no-win situation here. First appearance of Perro since NWA 70, and the storyline with Perro was he was in Japan, but if you follow his independent wrestling exploits, he's been tearing it up even prior to the pandemic with the different super indies around North America. So again, a big guy that can move and just kind of an old school bruising power, super heavyweight type guy. Clearwater tried his best, but Perro just too much. Perro hits the sit-out pile driver. Some sick shit there. 1-2 free, and a great debut for Mike Perro on NWA Power. I guess a re-debut to the NWA audience. We got Kyle Davis with Thunder Rosa. Rosa wants her title back, says Camille has no honor. Kyle brings out Melina. There's history here, immediate history in the NWA Power era. Melina is fond of what Rosa has done, says she would be in her corner again. Rosa says, nah, the past is in the past, and then Melina kind of sheepishly kind of cowers off. So building something there. Six-man main event is next, and it is the Champions main event. We've got Aaron Stevens, Kratos, so the two NWA tag champs, Pope, again the television champion, versus Nick Aldis, Tom Latimer, and a question mark. Well, who's going to be the mystery man? Who is Strictly Business's mystery man? It's Chris Adonis. The main event brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com. So Conrad Thompson bringing us that main event. I know that there's some subscribers to the channel that are happy with that one. So congrats. That's pretty cool. Get a graphic or something. Flash it up. Let's go. Adonis's boot came undone during the opening sequence with Stevens, which was pretty funny. Great story with Kratos yelling at Stevens to wake up and get back in there. So a little bit of dissension amongst the tag champs where Kratos heel versus Stevens, who's a freshly turned babyface. Now it's the jiving of the two ideologies, I guess. A real nice hot tag to Pope. Velvet calls Latimer Bram. So like I said, that's the second instance of somebody calling somebody else by their former gimmick name throughout the show, but ironically in that seat too. Must have been something with that chair, but not as egregious of an error as Pope with Rosser, but still pretty funny. Kratos with the blind tag and brings in a chair. Looks like he's going to bludgeon Adonis, but Stevens pulls the chair away, allowing Adonis to roll up for the 1-2 free. And post-match, Kratos berates Stevens more, and there's dissension with the tag champs, and we fade to black at 51-31. A very safe, not at all aggressive opening show for the season. I'd like to give it probably like a 6.5 out of 10. I thought that, they could have really went kind of a little bit more balls to the wall, a few things, but the Thunder Rosa Melina thing is going to be fun to watch. The dissension between Kratos and Stevens now is a thing, which is cool. The one thing I really, really did like is I think Storm, Sky, and Galley have tremendous chemistry, as a play-by-play crew. Sky just needs to speak up a little bit more, I think, or they need to up her volume on the broadcast, because I found her kind of hard to hear at times. And Storm just needs to be in there more. That's it. And I think they'll get used to it, as it's kind of more of a newer role for both individuals. Less of an in-ring role and more of a storyteller role. Joe Galli, though, man, he is, outside of the big two promotions, one of the best play-by-play guys out there. Like, he's one of my favorites to listen to. He's awesome. Love that guy. He's great. So that's it. Back for the Attack and NWA Power. Leave your comments below. I'm Kellen Nitro. Later days. Happy wrestling watching. Those are my thoughts, and my thoughts only. What were yours? Did you even bother dishing out the $4.99 or whatever per month to check this out now for the quote-unquote relaunch of the NWA? Or are you just going to say, we'll wait and see how this ends up? So, whatever. Anyway, comment below. Talk to you later. Later days. Happy wrestling watching, folks.